Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and I'm joined again on a Monday by Ben Foster. How you doing, Ben?
Lovely, thank you very much.
You weren't here last week because you were in Vegas with Wrexham.
Yeah, this time last week I was, I can't remember to be honest with you, but I'd been either very drunk or very hungover.
Yeah, you know where I was? I was in Leamington Spa with Watto.
Hosting, mate. You were on hosting duty. Smashing it is what you were doing.
Yeah, anyway. The high life for Ben. But lots to talk about. United, looks like top four, probably just about done now. Big win against Wolves, 6 points. But I want to talk about Ten Hag and I want to talk about De Gea. You missed last week. He made a major mistake against West Ham. Watto talked us through it perfectly. He said basically he's moving back. He slipped a little bit. He should save it, but you can see how it's gone wrong, even though he should have saved it. A massive week for De Gea where many Man United fans, I'd say as many as 75%, want him gone.
Really? 75%?
Yeah, it's big. Keeps a clean sheet at the weekend, had nothing to do, admittedly. That must be great when you're in goal. He will win the Golden Glove. Where are we with David De Gea, Ben, as a goalkeeper? Is it what... They've got to bring a goalkeeper in. I'll make it easier for you. Yeah. Do you bring a younger goalkeeper in to work alongside him and take his spot eventually? Or do you just go, let's get a really top goalkeeper in and sort of bin him to the reserve?
I don't think Man United can get a younger goalkeeper in and hope that he can overtake David De Gea. I don't think you can. I think you have to go straight to the top of the tree. If you're going to replace him, you have to go straight to the top of the tree and get the big boy that's already out there that's doing it in one of the big leagues. It's as simple as that. Same as what Liverpool did, the same as what Man City did. You have to go and get a big boy good to go, because being a kid and being at Man United, you just don't know how it's going to work. This is why I always say about David De Gea is, I understand that people are frustrated with him at times, and the mistake he made last week, honestly, is so basic. It was so basic. We were actually watching it out in Vegas, and me and a few of the goalies are looking at it.
You would have saved that, and how much as you had to drink.
Mate, I could have been larruped, and I think I'd have still saved it, seriously. But it is the most basic of errors, right? And I understand why Man United fans get frustrated with him. But there's still an awful lot to be said about somebody who you know you're going to get most of the time a 7 out of 10 and be able to deal with that pressure and expectation. And I don't think bringing a kid in, it's not the way to do it. It really isn't. You saw with Dean Henderson, the same sort of thing. A kid at Man United just doesn't work. You've got to go big boy straight away.
Yeah, and I suppose when you look at it, I think he's had 16 clean sheets in the Prem, and we've only played 35. So half of his games have been clean sheets. At home, we've only conceded 8 goals at home all season.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And 2 of them were in the opening day.
Yeah.
It can't... I wanted to ask you this because a lot of people are going, well, you know, it's the centre-backs, it's the right-back. I mean, he's made more saves than Nick Pope this season. Yeah. And Nick Pope's had a good season. You can't... As much as there may be issues with De Gea, and I think people need to accept that there are, you can't have that many clean sheets and stuff unless you're a decent keeper, surely. True.
The way I would judge a keeper, though, is I would watch the goals that go in. I don't... Saves
a lot of people do talk about this. Yeah.
Saves are brilliant, right? And you can look at stats of, like, clean sheets and how many saves they make and expected goals, all that. I don't care about that, right? If I'm trying to buy a goalie, if I was a manager of a football club, I would say, right, show me the goals that that goalie has conceded, yeah? And I'll look at each one and I'll go, could he have done better? Yes, no, maybe. Could he have done better? Yes, no, maybe. And I'll do it for every single goal. And then eventually, when you've got a piece of paper with a lot of yeses that he could have done better, that's alarm bells are ringing for me. That's the bit that will make me go, ooh, I'm not signing him. Sorry, quickly, I just think De Gea is... The reason why Man United fans are frustrated with him is because he's just made a few too many mistakes this season.
And I think that's a great point, because you're right, and that's why I wanted to ask you about it as a goalkeeper, because I know De Gea's probably made a few mistakes this year where he could have done better. Yeah. But then I would come back with not only the clean sheets, I can think of a few saves that other goalkeepers don't make,
for sure.
Like that one at Crystal Palace always jumps to mind, but there's been a few. It's a difficult one. So ultimately, my feeling is, I think there's a couple of goalkeepers out there, like there's an Anderlecht one, there's a few others that I'd go, I think they've got potential to be world class. You bring them under De Gea for the next 2 years, transition, I'd like that. You'd say, just replace it with somebody who's a top keeper, maybe a Costa, you know, whatever. There's some good goalies out there.
Going to cost big money, though.
Would you actually do it in this summer? Because that's a big thing. We don't know what's going on with the sale. The budget will probably be limited. Even if you get Qatar, you want a striker, a midfielder, maybe a centre-back. Goalkeeper, if you're going to replace him, like you say, is going to cost you 50, 60 million. Yeah. Do you do it this summer, or do you go, I'll wait another year?
I think you wait another year. I think you wait another year, and I think that's...
Just because of money?
I think just purely because of money. I think Ten Hag will probably be thinking the same thing. He's got a year left on his contract. Let him run that contract down, and then he can go wherever he wants.
That's the thing. He's just about to sign a new contract.
How long for though? Like, you know, apparently he's got a clause in it. A clause in it where it's like an extension for a year, and he just stays for another year. Yeah. I think that might be the best way of doing it, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think you're going to get much resale value out of David De Gea now anyway. So if they're going to keep him next year, he's going to have to play and then start sort of probing into the market and making some moves to who's going to actually replace him.
One more thing, Dean Henderson, do you think he's the man?
No, I don't think there's any comeback for Dean Henderson at Man United now. This season has just gone... It's just been a horror for Dean Henderson. I feel really sorry for him as well, because when he was playing at Nottingham Forest earlier on in the season, he was doing really, really well. You probably remember a lot of penalty saves he was making, even though he was celebrating it.
Even the WWE were after him.
Yeah.
All the banging on the floor.
So, I mean, some of the stuff, like the antics just need to go a little bit, I think. But he was having a good season, he was. And then, unfortunate injury, Keylor Navas comes in, and Keylor's done really well. You're getting a really experienced goalkeeper. And when you're in a relegation dogfight like Forest are, you need that experience at times.
The thing about Henderson as well is we know it doesn't work with De Gea.
Yeah,
so
it don't. No.
You've got to... If you go with Henderson, you've got to get rid of De Gea.
Henderson's going to want to leave, full stop. Henderson, like you said, you saw at the start of this season, he wanted to leave because he wanted to go out and play first-team football. Hasn't worked out for him so well, but I promise you...
He'll get a decent...
I promise you one thing, next year he won't be at Manchester United for sure, whether he gets sold permanently or another loan for another year or whatever, but he will not be at Man United next year because it obviously just don't work between them two.
No. Taking it away from that then, so time to go for De Gea, maybe, but the money's probably not there. Top four for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Good win against Wolves. 6 points to get to 72. Even if Liverpool win all their games and Brighton win all their games, they can't do that. Thank God.
Can we have a shout out quickly for Dan Bentley for Wolves at the weekend? Because I've seen, watching the highlights, right?
Well, I think we were quite wasteful, but I think you're onto a good one.
Not wasteful. I promise you that some of the saves that he made on Saturday were out of this world good.
The Sancho one?
Oh, incredible. Like, how quickly he's got down to that. There was 3 saves, very sort of similar saves, really, where he has got down so quickly, yeah? And he hasn't played any Premier League football before. Never played Premier League football. And he's away at Man United on his debut, right? He's played in the Championship for Bristol City all his career, pretty much. And then he has his chance to go and play at Man United. And, some of the saves, like, honestly, Dan Bentley, world class. That could have been 6 or 7 for United.
Oh, yeah, it should have been.
Genuinely, it could. And it was not through being wasteful. It's just that you came up against a goalie who was on fire.
We were a bit wasteful.
No, it was just good goalkeeping.
No, we were a little bit wasteful.
Good goalkeeping.
He made some good saves, but it was a good win. Chelsea, Fulham at home, and then Bournemouth away next week, who look like they've got the Amber Soleil on and they're on the beach.
Yeah, tonight's a big game. Obviously, Liverpool play tonight against Leicester. I think there's probably most Man United fans watching this one thinking, "Come on, Leicester, you know you're fighting for your life here. Let's do a bit, please, just to make that run in a little bit easier."
We gave him £80 million for Harry Maguire, which was £30 million too much. So use that £30 million as a payment for tonight. Yeah, definitely. But no, I think
quickly though, if Liverpool win tonight, Man United go into their remaining games, like Bournemouth away, you look at it and you go, tough place to go, Bournemouth away is, you know. Fulham, last game of the season, like,
they're playing well.
They're playing well, Fulham are. They've got nothing to lose. That's how you view it. Whereas if Liverpool lose tonight, or even draw tonight, you go, relax, we'll batter Bournemouth, we'll batter Fulham. That's football for you.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Where do you sit on Ten Hag? Because I put a tweet out last night saying that it baffles me. Obviously, Arsenal have blown the title now. Pep could be looking at a treble. I think Marco Silva at Fulham's done a good job. De Zerbi, unbelievable at Brighton. Emery's done well at Villa. But Erik Ten Hag inherited Manchester United's worst ever Premier League side on points tally. Yeah, he spent 200 million in the summer, but I think it needs a lot more than that. Ronaldo saga during the season. 2 domestic cup finals, won one of them, and we've just mentioned top 4 probably should get done. But it feels like with Ten Hag over the last few weeks, there's even in the fan base, there's just been a bit of a reality bite. I don't like this, don't like that. Whereas I personally think it's had an incredible season.
Yeah,
I think he should be in there for Manager of the Year, but nobody will put him in there.
There's been the problem he's got is I think this year there's been so many managers that could be in for a shout at Premier League Manager of the Year that he's kind of gone a little bit by the wayside, which is a shame really, because I think if on paper at the start of the season, taking that Man United squad from what they were last year and making it into a top 4 side. And like you say, FA Cup final still to come. You've got to look at this season as a success. You do. You have to look at it as a success. And it's not only just for what on paper they might achieve and might not achieve. It's just the way that he's got them going now. I think he's already set his kind of ethos of how he wants to play. And he's still. I think this squad is still miles away from how we'd want it. I do. I honestly think he's miles away from how he want it. We said earlier in the year, didn't we, about the problem with Man United is that they just haven't got the squad. They haven't got the depth. And I think that's probably told over the course of the season. When you've got somebody like a Man City who've just gone on an 11-game winning streak, you can't compete with that. But they have got 2 11s. They have got 2 11s that could genuinely compete for the title, couldn't they? And Man United are just, they're still so far away from that.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it, the Ronaldo thing, obviously Varane and Martinez out for the last 6 weeks of the season. Casemiro's missed about 9 games.
Send-ins off, which are ridiculous.
Eriksen's missed injury. No backing in January. I don't know what people think. I personally think Ten Hag has to be in the conversation for Manager of the Year, but isn't for some reason, because we've gone from this team where no one thought we'd get top 4 or win anything to a team that's going to get top 4 and potentially win 2 trophies. Yeah. But it just seems to the boiling we seem to be simmering. Yeah. You know, I don't know. There's something around United. Maybe it was the 2 losses in a row.
We just need to get the season out of the way now,
maybe
honestly. We just need to get the season out of the way. And even the FA Cup final, if you go and lose the FA Cup final, it's not the end of the world. I really don't think it's... Yeah, obviously it's the end of the world.
It is bad, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if it wasn't against City, then it's a different story. Don't get me wrong, everybody wants Man United to win the final. It's as simple as that. But I think... What needs to happen is we just need to get to the end of the season and then just go and breathe, breathe.
I mean, Man City are incredible. Yesterday they've got De Bruyne on the bench and Bernardo Silva in a game they need to win, and they're brilliant. How far are Man United away from being able to compete for a title? When you just look at Man United's team, what do you think they need? Because you look at that Man City side, they can bench four first teamers and bring Mahrez and Foden in. Yeah. Man United haven't even got the first team players that City have got. It's a huge task that Ten Hag's got, which brings into what he's done.
It's a massive gulf in class, mate, and you can put years on it if you want. You can say it could be 3, 4, 5, whatever.
Well, this is why I asked.
It doesn't necessarily work like that, because Man City had a little bit of a transition, didn't they, for the last couple of years, where they're losing some of the older players, some of the old guard that have been there from the beginning, and then been replaced with this new style. And now this new style straight away is just like, wow, that's the way of doing it again. They've got all the monsters, they've got the beast. But Man City are at the place now, though, where if one monster comes up this summer, somebody that would fit their system, they'll buy that one monster, and it just complements it. They did it last year with Erling Haaland, where everyone went, well, if they get Erling Haaland, that's it, done. And it's proven that's exactly the way it is. So they're already streets ahead, but they'll already have access to the next big one as well, which is, you're fighting a losing battle when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, because I'd say United probably needs 7 top players.
For sure,
3 or 4 for the first team, 3 for the bench.
I know, it's mad. That's how much are 7 players, mate? If you want 7, first of all, the 4 that are going to start, to start for Man United, you're talking 60, 70 million pound players.
Well, I think you need between £500 million and £1 billion to do what I've just said there, because 7, most of those players are going to be 100 million each, aren't they?
And that's no guarantee. Chelsea have just spunked $500 million. Do you know what I mean? $500 million. So there's no guarantee nowadays.
That's what I mean. That's why I think United fans should be very happy with what we've done this year, because the journey ahead is not. It's not going to be next year we're going to challenge for the Champions League and the title. I think it's a huge step to go where Real Madrid and Man City are at the moment. Yeah,
just consolidate top 4 again, and then next year sort of much for muchness kind of thing. I don't think you're going to get massive strides and massive leaps. You're not going to try and challenge Man City next year, maybe. You won't. But as long as you can sort of stay around that top 4, then it's gentle progress, it is.
Definitely. Thanks for coming on, Ben.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. We'll speak to you on the next one.